Major Music.
What's good? Coming at y'all with another video. If this your first time here, I like to talk all things music production or music related. In this case today, we're actually going to talk about a rumored Distrokid sale that I came across online a couple of days ago. So I thought I would bring it here to this channel. I also do on this channel the Major Music Lounge podcast, which discuss topics such as this on the podcast, as well as talk to other music creators about their time creating music and more. You can follow me on Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at d._major music. On Twitter, X is going to be d.mme. So let's go ahead and get into this. I came across it was actual reel on Instagram a couple of days ago. I was just going through some of my followers' stories, and I came across this with Distrokid. So Distrokid is the latest music firm rumored to be exploring a sale, and I actually looked this up on two different websites as well. So the first being Musically, and then the second being this site relaxandcomfort.com. I'll actually link both of those in the description section if anybody wants to look at it a little bit more thoroughly. So Grammy week, which was last week, is abuzz with industry changing information. As you could have seen, BMG is outwardly in talks to doubtlessly purchase Concord. Sony Music Group additionally selected this week to announce that it's launching a music rights acquisition JV with Singapore's GIC, with plans to take position 2 billion to 3 billion within the enterprise. I'm going to skip ahead. According to a number of robust sources, distribution platform Distrokid is holding talks with potential consumers over a big money sale. MBW hears that DistroKid is being repped by each Rain and Goldman Sachs in these discussions. The quantity being bandied by the quantity being bandied around Los Angeles is US dollars 2 billion, though some sources counsel value might escalate, even increase. Today's information comes scorching on the heels of DistroKid investor Insight Holdings confirming that it has acquired Europe-based distribution platform Zebra Luchan from Gema. DistroKid was based by Philip Kaplan in 2013 and was valued at 1.3 billion following the Insight Partners funding in August 2021. In January 2024, Kaplan took extra of a backseat position on the firm, transitioning from CEO to chairman. DistroKid is now run day to day by President Phil Bauer. Bauer beforehand served as DistroKid's chief operating officer since 2018. The New York based firm claims that it handles 30 to 40% of the latest music releases globally and serves greater than 2 million artists. In October, DistroKid launched a new direct-to-fan gross sales platform, making the music distributors push past audio and video distribution providers and into merchandise gross sales. So, as I said, I'm going to leave both of these articles linked in the description section. Yeah, but what this kind of sounds like, we go back to the section here that says it handles 30 to 40% of the latest music releases globally and serves greater than 2 million artists. That to me, if you really think about the landscape of independent music creation here in 2026, there are a ton. Most of the music being released is going to be released by independent artists. And labels, with that said, aren't signing many artists anymore. So it appears to me that Sony is trying to get a piece of that 30 to 40%, being that a lot of labels in 2026 no longer sign artists. there are a lot of artists now going direct to consumer in terms of like releasing their music directly on Bandcamp, for example, because they're able to make a lot more off of that. You even hear like shout out to Curtis King, but you know he talked a lot about it last year and the year before, the fact that he was taking a lot of his music off of these streaming services and going direct to consumer himself. And you know, you see more and more artists starting to do that, and with the payouts from platforms, for example, like a Spotify, really all of them. I've had people on my Major Music Lounge podcast, in fact, that have told me personally that they don't use some of these platforms. I'm not necessarily saying like DistroKid in particular, but they don't use some of these platforms for the simple reason that they don't get paid a lot in terms of their streaming. And some artists or some even just general music creators have came onto my podcast and told stories about themselves, you know, making a couple of $100 off of releases on Bandcamp opposed to you know, maybe a couple of cents, if that, maybe $3, $4 of streaming royalties. And I always say, you know, you never want to completely abandon the streaming platforms because there is somebody out there that is going to discover you that way. But at the same time, you know, if your fan base will support you on platforms like a Bandcamp, for example, or any direct to consumer way, by all means, you know, go that direction. And you even see a lot of other like music creators even starting to, you know, release cassette tapes as kind of like collector's items, vinyl, CDs. You know, a lot of people are still doing CDs for that standpoint, and just people that are going back to like physical media in 2026. So I still think there's some room for that. Just kind of really depends on you as a artist or music creator and what type of following you have, because not everybody's going to have that type of following, as to where some other creators, they may fare better on streaming services. And again, that really just depends on what type of following that you have and where's your audience primarily located. You know, for me, for example, there are several people that I know that more so stream my music on Apple Music opposed to Spotify or even Bandcamp. I probably would though put Bandcamp second, because every now and then I might see some sales come through from somebody purchasing a project off of Bandcamp. So now, before I end the video, I actually got another clip that we're going to take a look at, pretty much outlining some of the same points that I talked about in the article. This comes from a Instagram user by the name of Damiza. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at this.
Breaking news, Distrokid is quietly, or was quietly, exploring a potential sale, with sources telling Music Business Worldwide the company is being repped by Goldman Sachs and the Rain Group. Shout out to Fred Davis. The Rain Group has done mega deals like the WWE UFC merger and Hybe, and even raised the money for Gamma. The scale is the story. Distrokid claims it now handles 30 to 40% of all new music releases globally and serves over 2 million artists, making it one of the most powerful infrastructure players in the modern music economy. Its recent expansion into direct-to-fan sales via direct platform built on tech from Bandzoogle, yeah, that was right, signals ambitions well beyond basic distribution. Context matters. This news lands during Grammy Week, along reports of BMG rights management circling Concord and Sony Music Group launching a multi-billion-dollar rights JV. The takeaway is clear: music's plumbing is getting consolidated, and distributors are no longer viewed as utilities, but strategic assets with massive leverage. The bottom line is, when the company moving nearly half the world's new music starts shopping itself, it tells you exactly where the power and the money is heading next. Story developing.
So I agree with the last statement that he made about you can tell where the power and the money is heading next when it comes to this acquisition or potential acquisition of Distrokid. So, with that said, what do you, as music creators, think about this potential acquisition of Distrokid by Sony BMG? Let me know in the comment section. Once again, you can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at d._major music. Same thing on Threads. On Twitter, X, it's going to be d.mme.
Ain't gotta say much, the winning speaks for itself. Winning speaks for itself. Winning speaks for itself. Everything I play's gotta be top shelf. Gotta be top shelf. Gotta be top shelf. Ain't gotta say much, the winning speaks for itself. Winning speaks for itself. Winning speaks for itself. Everything I play's gotta be top shelf. Gotta be top shelf. Gotta be top shelf.